we have a car yard. So naturally we'll implement a car yard class. A car yard can sell many vehicles. So to drag a class, or in this case, a entity, if you're thinking in the ER headspace, we'll just simply click on the class symbol and we'll drag it across here. So this creates our class, which represents a conceptual entity in the entity relationship space. What I might do, just for a bit of clarity, is just zoom in. Just go to View, Zoom, and I'll make it nice and bigger for you. And I'll just scroll up so I can see what we're looking at, and away we go. So we have a single class, and we might want to change that a bit. So to change our class, we'll need to double click on it, just like so. And it'll bring up this dialog here. So to start off with, we'll have a car yard class by simply typing in car yard in the name. And I can't spell. So we have a car yard, and a car yard has two attributes. It has an address and a contact number. So we enter the name here, and to specify the address and contact number, you need to click on Attributes within this window. And I'll resize that across so we get a bit more real estate. And we enter the attributes like so. So a car yard has an address and a contact telephone number. Once we're done with the attributes and the class name, we'll click on OK. And you can see our Visio actually populates our class symbol for us. So we've got our car yard down. Now a car yard can have many cars, or vehicles as I'll put it, and that's the next thing I'm going to model. So again, I'm just going to drag a class onto the document, and then double click on it. I will type in vehicle, jump to attributes, and we'll type in our attributes of vehicle. So every vehicle in a car yard will have a make, so whether it's a Holden or a Ford, a model, so Arena, Commodore, Suzuki Swift, and a power output, so it'll be the amount of kilowatts its engine produces. So just a couple of basic attributes here, and we click OK. Now one important thing is in this subject, we're not really focusing on design. So you may notice an additional column here called type. We'll leave that as unspecified because we're not really worried about the data types that our system is going to store. We're more worried about what we're actually modeling, what's in the system. So we know at this stage that every vehicle we store in the car yard has a make, model, and power output. So we just click on OK. And now we have two classes, or two entities if you're thinking in the ER space. But we want to sort of say, or express in this diagram that there is a one-to-many relationship between car yard and vehicle. So a vehicle can belong in one car yard, but a car yard can have many vehicles. And you do this by dragging out a special symbol called the binary association symbol. So if we just drag that on here, like so, and what we'll do is I will connect these two classes together. And you do that by clicking on this end handle, and you make it so it connects up to one of the pointers here. Notice how it turns red? Make sure it turns red because that will actually connect them up nicely for you. Just jump down there and I'll do the same. So we've got our connections, and what we need to do is change the cardinality that's expressed in our relationship. And we do this by double clicking on the binary association symbol. Another window pops up. We won't give this association a name, but what we will do is inspect these two properties here called multiplicity. Now multiplicity basically states whether it's a one-to-one relationship or a one-to-many relationship, and you'll be able to change this by selecting one from the drop-down here. Now this bit's a bit tricky because what you need to do is you actually need to figure out which multiplicity value you're changing. So if we just move this dialog out of the way and jump down here, you can see that end 1 is the one that's on the left, or actually I'll move this again so I can show you. End 1 is the one that's on the left, that's next to car yard, and end 2 is the one that's next to vehicle. So if we want to make it so that our vehicle only belongs in one car yard, the cardinality factor on this end here will only be 1. So that name is end 1, and we'll change the multiplicity factor up there to make it 1. But a car yard can have one or many vehicles. So 1 to many is the multiplicity value here, and that's at the end 2. So we'll change that up here as well. And that's 1 to many. So once I'm done changing these values and checking whether they're at the right ends or not, I just click OK. So this means now that a vehicle can belong in one car yard, but a car yard can have one to many vehicles. Another thing I might want to add as well is that you still got these end1 and end2 values here. Now when you put in a binary association, Visio for some reason puts in the names of these end values themselves. If you just want to tidy this up a little bit, I'll just double click on the binary association again, jump up here, and I'll actually clear these end names. If you do that, it just makes a much nicer class diagram. So that's pretty much the basics of it. Most of your diagrams will involve these kind of relationships where a customer can have many orders, and orders can have many items, but an item can only belong to one order, and so on. And I've also shown you how to model attributes within an entity as well. So the fact that a vehicle has a make, model, and power output. However, some of your assignments or some of the work you'll be doing later on will actually require you to do what we call a specialization generalization hierarchy, which means that there can be specific types of entities, or an entity can be clustered as a supertype or belong to a greater group of entities. Now, to fully explain what I mean in this example, we can say that a vehicle can be of two types, a truck or a car. And a truck has an additional attribute on top of make, model, and power output, which is max weight. And a car can also have an additional attribute called door count, which represents whether it's a 3-door or 5-door car. So again, I'm going to create some classes for this, and I'm going to show you how to model this using Visio. So the first thing I do is I just jump to here, drag out another class, and I'll drag out another class again. And again, I'll just alter the properties of this class by double-clicking on it, and rename this to a truck. Actually, I'll start with a car, and a car has an additional attribute called a door count, which represents the number of doors it has. And then I hit OK. So that's our car with a door count attribute. Likewise, I'll just change it for truck. I won't repeat myself again here. And this one has a max weight. So max weight probably represents the maximum amount of tons it could carry. Okay, so these are our separate classes. And now we're going to join them up together in a specialization hierarchy. Now there's a special symbol you can use to do this, and it's called the generalization symbol. And what we do to do that is we just drag it out here, like so. So it really looks like an arrow with a big triangle on the end of it. And we point one arrow to the thing we want to specialize to, like so, and drag the other end to the thing we want to with the thing we want to specialize to. So this is the general entity, the vehicle, and this denotes that a car is a kind of vehicle. And we do that by joining the arrows. Again, note that the handles are red. Just make sure you do that when you're joining them up. So I'll just do that again to show you. Drag it onto the document, and we want to say that a truck is a kind of vehicle by joining it to that endpoint there, and joining that there. Now if you read the textbook, what this symbol actually means, or what these three entities represent, is that we have a vehicle with these three attributes, but a car extends a vehicle in the fact that a car is an object that's a specific kind of vehicle that also has a door count as well as a make, model, and power output. Likewise with a truck, which has an additional max weight attribute. And there we have it. That's our domain model class diagram for our very simple car yard scenario. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and I'll see you all later. Thank you.